What's going on? It's Michael from Reality Hacker, and today I wanted to share a little bit with you about some law of attraction cheat codes that you can use starting immediately to radically affect how you go about consciously creating your life. So, when it comes to using the law of attraction, we look at it as a process of A plus B equals C, right? Visualization plus emotion equals outcome. And yes, that is 110% true. But what if there was a way that we could actually get around that? What if there was a way that we could hyper accelerate the process? Well, here's the thing, right? Generally, when it comes to desire is a very interesting thing because desire itself is never about things. It's actually about feelings, right? So if it's a house that I want, or a relationship that I want, or money that I want, or a job that I want, whatever it is that I want, there's a feeling tone there that tends to be uniform across all desires that give us life, that expand, that are a reflection of our own fulfillment, right? There's a tonality every time. If you just take a second and think about when a desire first comes upon you, there's a feeling there. And the biggest problem that a lot of us get caught up in is we just lose sight of the feeling and then try and intellectualize the process. We say, well, this is my desire. That fleeting moment of joy that I initially had when it came is lost, but now I need to figure out what to do. And it's like, no, right? If you remember, Neville says every desire has its own blueprint of unfolding, right? Our job here, it's not to try and do A plus B equals C. It's not to try and do a bunch of techniques to get what we want. Our job here is to understand that dominant feelings create reality, or they at least influence the world in which we experience here. So regardless of whether it's a new job or whether it's a new car, if you really kind of take a step back, you'll realize that what you want is to be happy. What you want is to be satisfied. What you want is to be fulfilled. And naturally, when we take this a step deeper and we really begin to dive into the concept of you being the creator, right? Not you, right? But you, the awareness that is aware of who you think you are, that very same awareness permeates all of time and space. Anything that has any degree of awareness is actually that same infinite awareness that you are experiencing itself subjectively through form and fashion. So that being said, what are two things that I can do in order to get back to that space where I am in that flow, in that state? Ultimately, one thing here is to ultimately confront the fact that whether I do have or I don't have my desire, the fulfillment and the feeling that is cultivated in thinking about it can remain, right? The brain doesn't know the difference between something happening out here and something happening inside, right? The brain can't determine how legitimate an event is. It just reads data and then it sends it to the rest of the body and the mind system, right? So what has to happen here is I have to look at a couple things. A, understanding that my dominant feelings that come when a desire kind of comes into my mind immediately or comes into my spirit, whatever word you want to use there, the feeling is what I should be focusing on, not the actual picture itself. Because the truth is, yes, there are pictures associated with desires, but the pictures aren't always what we actually want them to be. And the truth is, again, right, we want the feeling over the actual desire. So you can give yourself some release from the pressure to manifest when you can begin to understand that you actually want feelings. You're trying to catch feelings here, okay? And when you can understand that, and then on top of that, understand that you are literally the very source of the universe experiencing itself subjectively, you understand that you can literally cultivate any feeling you want. And because your ultimate, your infinite being, it transcends time and space, exists in the past, the present, and the future simultaneously, you can pull any feeling from any state in literally the history of the universe all the way to the omega point when everything shrinks back to a singularity. So the best thing that I can do in order to speed up the creation is literally enjoy my life. And it's crazy how much we forget this. Like we think that in the process of creating things to enjoy our lives, we can't enjoy our lives. It's like, dude, do everything you can to get fulfillment out of the moment now. Don't sit here waiting thinking that the fulfillment is actually going to come. The fulfillment's already here because you are that fulfillment. The fulfillment is not something that comes when something enters your vicinity, because the reality is the root source of that thing, whatever it is, and the root source of you are actually the same thing, which really means that you've been one with this thing you're wanting the entire time. And if I can begin to understand that I am one with the thing that I want, then all of a sudden, that sense of enmity, when I think about it, it begins to disappear. That sense of angst or anxiety begins to disappear, because I'm not looking at my desire being something that I'm forcing into my experience. I'm looking at my desire that is literally something that is an aspect of me. So all of the questions of worthiness and deserving, they leave the table, because I understand that fundamentally, the essence that makes up the desire is the same essence that makes up Michael. Right? They're the same thing, experiencing itself subjectively. And so if I can come back to this place as much as possible, right? It's not about being there for a long time. It's about coming back to this place as much as I can. That is the vibration of abundance. That is the frequency of fulfillment. But the truth always remains, you will never find it outside of yourself until you find it inside of yourself. And the day you find it inside of yourself is the day everything absolutely changes. All right? Good stuff? Awesome. These are some cheat codes. If you want some help applying those cheat codes, go ahead and look in the description. Some of our offerings, the I Am Experience, that is a framework for leveraging the ultimate cheat code, ultimately leading you, right? Because we want to go from that intellectual understanding of me being the creator to the heartfelt understanding that I am the creator, the experienced understanding, actually experienced, right? Because the proverb goes, as a person thinks in their heart, so they become, right? Not as a person thinks in their mind or a person thinks in their arm, as a person thinks in their heart, in their soul, in their body, right? And you will give yourself permission to go here fully without resistance when you accept the fact that you are infinite, that you are all imagination experiencing itself to be a human for a short while. All right? Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you like this video, go ahead and comment, subscribe, share your thoughts. I love to see it. I literally love to engage. I'm a big fan of that. So I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of your infinite power. Now let us go into the silence. I'll talk to you soon.